Saturn moves into Pisces this week and he is settling in for a long stay, so let's get into it. Good morning all, my name is Comet. Welcome to my Cosmic Corner. This is your Magic Monday weekly horoscope for the week of March 6th to March 12th. What is happening within the cosmos, but what we're more interested in covering every single week here on my channel is how you are going to feel these themes within your universe. And furthermore, how you are going to co-create with these themes within your universe. How you are going to flow in synchrony with the Pisces season waters and all of the aspects that the planets are throwing our way, rather than fighting your way against the currents. Because let me tell you this week, the currents are strong, okay? The currents are strong. So you're gonna wanna be aware of this energy. Firstly, we've got a Virgo full moon, okay? And this is kind of a stressed Virgo full moon, but you know, pull your average Virgo, we're typically pretty stressed. And then this full moon is squaring Mars. So everybody is busy, everybody is in a rush. You can notice this on the highway, people driving faster, honking, getting frustrated. You can notice this at work, like people like demanding updates like 20 minutes later, like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? And you're like, can you take a second? People at the grocery store getting frustrated with the lines. There's just a hectic, frantic feeling this week with that Virgo full moon. In addition to that, we have a major tonal shift with Saturn entering Pisces, which can be heavy. This can kind of feel like a heavy transition because we are both wrapping up a cycle that's been playing out since 2020 of Saturn transiting Aquarius, and now a new sector of our life is beginning. It's almost like when you go on a hike and you look at the top of the mountain, you're like, I have to go to the top of that. I'm already tired from the mountain I just climbed from Saturn and Aquarius. Like I didn't even get a second to breathe, and now I have to climb this. So there's almost a moment where you're just having to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, well, here we go. All I can do is I've got my snacks and I've got my pack, and all I can do is head up the mountain. And with the Virgo full moon, you could be feeling frustrated and cranky. Like the vibe is cranky. So at least you have a reason why you're feeling this way, if you are feeling this way. The astrology supports it. That's not to say there's not beauty within this week's astrology. There's some lovely harmonious energy. There is Sun sextile Uranus, there is Venus sextile Mars, there is Mercury sextile Uranus. There is this energy around forward momentum. There is this energy around forward momentum. There is this energy around being able to see opportunity, being able to get closer to your passion, invigorate your passion. But you know, you might be a little cranky as you invigorate said passion and look for the novel within your life. Did you guys see that? Rude! A little fruit fly just buzzed his way over here. And I don't even know if you can see the fly on film, so you guys probably just saw me have a freak out over absolutely nothing. And like that's the vibe this week. Little icks, little frustrations that just make you so mad. And you're just like, why? Why is life so annoying sometimes? Oh my gosh. But now that our uninvited guest has departed the Cosmic Corner, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. And let me know what you're sipping on to start your week. I've got like a little Americano, I foamed some almond milk, and then I threw a little white mocha creamer in there. Just a little sweetness to counteract some of these frustrating energies. Maybe that's why this fruit fly was over here. He was trying to get a sip of my Americano. If you are new here, hello. I promise to you, I typically don't start my videos yelling at a fruit fly that you may or may not have even been able to see. That's just a this week thing. And secondly, Vibe Check of the Week is when we essentially liken all of the celestial events. So if you're listening to the words that I'm saying and you're like, Jupiter conjunct Chiron, Venus sextile Mars, what are you talking about, girl? What does this mean for me? We essentially liken all of these influences to a real life situation. So that even as you navigate this week, if you can't remember the specifics around, wait, Mercury was doing what to what planet? You can remember the vibe, you can remember the feeling, and kind of get a sense of how that will manifest within your world. So I want you to think of running errands with your partner. Now you can sub in your best friend, you can sub in a family member. Who would you be running errands with? Okay, think about a day running errands. And it's an innocuous plan. It's an innocuous plan. You all are simply meant to drop off some clothing at the donation center. You all are meant to swing by Home Depot and get some tools for a home improvement project that you guys have to do. And then swing by the grocery store to get food for the week. But the vibe is off. The vibe is off. Everybody is just driving crazily. You and your partner are already kind of grumpy because you go to the donation center and they're closed. They're not taking donations. So you're like, cool, we drove out here for that. You go to Home Depot. The parking lot is absolutely insane. You go inside and the tool that you thought you were going to spend $200 on is actually $600. And you're just like cranky about that. You're like, I don't want to do this home maintenance project. Why is everything so expensive? And now it's time to go grocery shopping and y'all are just over it. You're tired. You're over it. Errands have been annoying. And when you're in the grocery store, you get in a tiff. Okay, you get in a tiff. And it's not that you're mad at your partner, right? It's just crowded. It's loud in there. There's people everywhere. You're trying to look at the crackers and like someone's standing right there in front of the crackers and you're like, can you move? Can you move? I'm trying to shop, but you're just like standing right there and you're just frustrated. And you're kind of like internally getting worked up because you're just like so frustrated with how the day has progressed. And that when your partner is like nowhere to be seen, like all of a sudden you're trying to get crackers and they're nowhere, you get so mad. And then you find your partner and you're just like snappy. You're like, why would you leave me? We were meant to be in this together. I was trying to consult you on if you would prefer the garden herb Triscuits or the wheat thins, and you were nowhere to be found. You abandoned me. Because there is a vibe around certain innocuous, frustrating situations. Like, granted, there were annoying stuff, nothing earth-shattering, and certainly nothing that warranted that sort of response. Like, definitely keep an eye on your responses this week because that's going to be important. And it's almost like that micro thing. Like, your partner wasn't being mean by like abandoning you in the grocery store, but it almost just like brought this pang to you around you are never there when I need you. I know it seems silly to you, this debate between Triscuits and wheat thins, but like I just needed my partner there to like guide me through that decision because I didn't want to get home and you be like, ew, wheat thins, I don't even eat those. Like I just needed you there. And it kind of just pings you at a deeper level where you're just like, this reminds me of that time you weren't there when I was processing this. And that reminds me of that time that you didn't want to go with me to that event and I felt abandoned. Like it just kind of pings at all the other times that I felt abandoned. It's coming out via this very silly debate about the Triscuits and the wheat thins, but it's pinging at a deeper piece within you. And that's important this week because Jupiter conjunct Chiron lands this Saturday night. Now I have an entire deep dive video to go into it because I think it's so powerful and it can be very healing, but it can be very triggering. And again, there can be circumstances this week that sort of just ping at a deeper level. It's like to one extent, you're just grocery shopping, like your partner just had to go get bread, like it's, the world's not ending, right? But it just kind of pings at an underlying story that you have that the situation just reminded you of and kind of put you into that kind of like hurt and wounded space. And it's really important to kind of create a container for those stories and those feelings to come to the surface while also just being mindful not to lash out because of them, right? Like, you know, if you've ever had a situation like this and then you've been just so overwhelmed and worked up that you were just like, bah! And then you don't feel great about it. You're like, I'm so sorry. It was just like, everything was overstimulating. Everything was annoying. I just dropped all this money on tools. I couldn't find the essential ingredient that I needed to make this new recipe. I'm just frustrated. I'm just frustrated. And it pinged at a deeper part within me. Now, it's not that this week is just about being in the tiff. Like I want you to think of that tiff. It was annoying. You kind of, you know, had some choice words at the supermarket. Okay. You all certainly did not leave with everything you needed. Okay. After waiting in a long line, you guys are kind of like quiet on the drive home. And then when you get home, you're able to like talk things out. You're able to make up. You know, with Mercury sextile Uranus and Venus sextile Mars, there's definitely opportunities to sort of handle the data that's coming out, right? Because to a micro level, it's not a big deal, right? Wheat thins or Triscuits, life goes on, it's okay. But what needs to be addressed and what needs to find a solution is the underlying frustrations and the underlying sort of ping. Because maybe even just being able to voice to your partner, hey, it's not about the wheat thins or the Triscuits. I don't want to fight about the wheat thins and the Triscuits. Let's talk about how I feel like you're never there when I need you. Even for micro decisions, like which crackers to buy, but also for big things. And that situation was sort of a microcosm to these bigger picture things that are happening in our relationship. Again, it's not that it's a romantic week. I just think of, you know, tiffs in a partnership. You can think maybe running errands with your best friend, maybe running errands with your mom. Just when situations are overstimulating, then just one micro thing that just brings you back to this wounded place. And then you are just like crazy cranky. Okay, so you guys got that? We'll continue to paint that picture as we continue through the vibe check, but I want to get us into our day by day. I want to let you know that all timestamps are available below if you want to advance to a particular day, advance back to a particular day, reflect on the week. And also all times that I mention will be GMT -8, otherwise known as PST. Because of PST, we are having a time change on Sunday, so just also important as I kind of relay Sunday's information that could potentially affect it. Just make sure to check your time zone if I relay a time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the astrology of Monday, March 6th. So the astrology of Monday, March 6th, firstly, what I want you to keep in mind is that the full moon is building and building and building. And you can ask EMTs, you can ask nurses, you can ask bartenders. Everybody gets a little wacky around full moons. Emotions get enhanced, right? The full moon is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's getting more and more illuminated. And thus, certain emotions with us can be illuminated. Certain stories within us can be illuminated. So just allowing that space for things to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And your reactions can feel pretty big. Your emotions can feel pretty big. Your schedule can feel pretty busy. There's just a lot. There's a lot happening. So I want you to be gentle with yourself, especially since Monday is Moon Day. I also want to let you know that the sun, the Pisces sun, sextiles Uranus and Taurus. So I know the Virgo moon will be a little overwhelmed, right? Like when you think of that full moon getting more and more illuminated, consider it's in the sign Virgo. So, you know, what's really being illuminated here are our irrational fears, our anxieties about random things. This feeling around gotta do it all, gotta be it all, it's all gotta be perfect, I need control, I need order over my reality. And again, there's just this overwhelmed vibe. Like, I just want you to be graceful with yourself. If you notice towards the beginning of the week, you're like, just have like so many needs that you don't even know where to start. Did anyone used to play The Sims? Like they had little bars that let you know, hunger, hygiene, all of these things. And for a lot of people, especially if this full moon is pivotal for you, we'll talk about it more in Tuesday's forecast, but it just feels like for a lot of people, all of those bars are going to be red. You're like, I need to shower, I need to clean, I don't have any groceries, I have 3 deadlines approaching. I have to take my dog outside. It's like all of your needs are red and you're so frazzled that you don't even know where to start. And my advice to you on Monday morning, again, the Virgo moon wants control and wants order and will tell you need to run and get into action right away. But I would deeply suggest in the morning time doing something that just helps ground you down amidst all of these frantic energies. So even if you're like, okay, I probably should get on emails an hour early this week to just get ahead on everything, your sanity, your peace of mind will be so much happier if you actually just choose to take a walk instead. I know all of those bars for some people might be running red, like you're like, oh, should I clean? Should I organize these papers? I need to do my taxes. Oh my gosh, where do I start? Sometimes getting yourself into a calm, peaceful state of mind makes all of those things a lot more doable. Like a lot of times when your house is so messy and you start to clean your house and then you're like, but actually I need to gather my receipts together from my accountant, and you're so frazzled, you're running around, but nothing's really getting accomplished. So if you're feeling those mounting anxieties, I would deeply suggest on Monday morning doing something that just kind of is a disruption to the routine, that kind of just grounds you and centers you to be able to handle the snares that this Virgo full moon will be bringing to the surface. And then the Virgo moon opposes its ruler around 8:30 a.m. PST. And okay, so Mercury doesn't really enjoy being in Pisces, and you can tell because Mercury is flying through the cosmos. Like Mercury enters Aries, I want to say next week. Like Mercury just got into Pisces and it's like, I am freaking out of here, get me out of here. Because I talked about this last week, but the energies are incompatible, right? Because Pisces is about the dream, it's about imagination, and Mercury is about the facts and the figures. So right now, that's the overwhelmed headspace that I'm talking about around Virgo moon wants control, but it can't really focus. It's kind of like all over the place. So again, doing something that kind of soothes the Virgo moon's ruler, Mercury in Pisces, something that gives to your spirit, something that connects you to nature, something that, just makes your soul feel good is helpful, because the Virgo moon isn't getting the answers it needs. It's not getting the clarity it needs. It's not, communicating its needs and its desires in a helpful way. And focus could most certainly be a problem. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, maybe just because I'm Mercury ruled, focus could be a problem, right? Mercury is swimming in the Piscean waters, all that is. It's so hard when you're contemplating God and contemplating all that is to also contemplate this spreadsheet at work. I want to contemplate this. I would rather listen to this song and pretend I'm in a music video. I would rather question and ponder what it is that we're all here to do. Like, it just can be kind of a challenge to bring your attention back to the current task, even if you are feeling overwhelmed with your mounting to-do list or just all that is in your awareness or all that you have to do, right? And I would definitely say, feed the Mercury in Pisces. Definitely give yourself breaks, go for walks, listen to music. Does anybody else feel like the music this Pisces season has just been hitting? Every Pisces season, I swear, whenever we get a lot of planets in Pisces, I swear, music just does something entirely different to me. It just transports me. It's actually been kind of a problem. Like, I keep trying to work, but I just want to listen to music and daydream. And I'm like, my love, these videos are not going to film themselves if you were just sitting there daydreaming. Get to it. But all I'm saying is a little daydream break here and there never hurt anybody. Taking a little break from the spreadsheets to go lie under a tree, look at the clouds, and contemplate all that is didn't hurt anybody. You got to both soothe the Virgo moon's desire to have control and order and get things done with the Mercury Pisces energy around contemplating the big picture and using your imagination and all of those things. Okay, let's talk about Tuesday, March 7th, because what a day. What a day and what a time to be alive. I didn't say the good time to be alive, just a time, okay? So we have a Virgo full moon, which I do have a deep dive all signs forecast if you want to see the stories that it's bringing up for you, for your chart, for your life. And right after that Virgo full moon, we also have Saturn ingressing into Pisces, another big deal transit. And again, sorry to plug all these, but I do have all signs forecast for that as well. Because again, these are kind of, in Magic Monday, it's more so collective themes that we're walking through. You'll want to look at those personalized horoscopes to see what they're bringing up for your chart and for your life. So it does feel significant that Saturn ingresses into Pisces shortly after the Virgo full moon. Now, Saturn isn't interwoven to the themes of the Virgo full moon, but it does kind of enter the axis right after. So with the Virgo full moon, it's that energy in the vibe check where it's just like feeling overwhelmed. Nothing is going right. And the thing about this Virgo moon and about Virgo moons in general, my fellow Virgo moons, you know it's true, is that there is a strong chance we can kind of work ourselves up over small, perhaps insignificant details, but they can feel very significant to us. Like you saw me at the beginning of this video with that fruit fly, not a big deal. I don't even know if the camera picked it up. Like, you guys probably wouldn't have noticed, but it just infuriated me in that moment because I'm like, do you see that I am filming? And like when you're shopping, like little things, like these lights are so bright and there's so many options here and I just feel overwhelmed. I just feel stressed. It can make us like get a tendency to kind of work ourselves up because Virgo is energy around perfection. It's the energy around order. And there's just something where we're feeling out of control of our own lives. Like there's just an energy where whether you're feeling this when it comes to your to-do list and your house and everything just feels like it's a mess, whether you feel like this when you're like going grocery shopping with your partner and you guys are just not finding what you need, you guys are cranky, you guys are short with each other, and it's just like so frustrating. Again, nothing earth-shattering, nothing horrible, but you're working yourself up off of all of these little things. You're like, life should not be like this. Why is life so annoying? Because Virgo moon is hyper fixated on all of the little details. So if things aren't exactly right, it can be very frustrating. If things aren't as efficient as possible, it can be very frustrating. And with this full moon squaring off with Mars, okay, pinky promise, guys. I'm not kidding. Pinky promise me. If you don't put out your pinkies right now, put out your pinky. Pinky promise me that you will drive safe, that you will go slow with where it is that you're going, and that you will mind your impulses, okay? Pinky promise. Because when we have a full moon squaring Mars, people can be more testy, they can be more reactive, they can be more frustrated, they can be more prone to accidents, whether it's falling or anything of the nature. Again, I'm not putting that out there. I just want you to be safe, okay? And also, when it comes to full moons aspecting Mars, I want you to think of the Gemini full moon last year. Do you guys remember that one? That one was conjoining Mars. And that, I remember it because that was the day that I spilt a huge cup of tea all over my laptop, effectively ruining it. They did get it back to health, thank goodness, but it was a whole thing. And because I was going too fast, because I was stressed trying to do all the things. So again, one step at a time, breathe, okay? There just feels to be energy where it's like overwhelming, we're more testy or more reactive, maybe because of real life scenarios, but also what we've worked up, like the story that we've worked up around things never work out for me, my partner's never there when I need them, I don't know how to grocery shop, I didn't learn how to be an adult. This is just too much. That's the vibe, okay? Now I will say, I have a lot of techniques of kind of how to mitigate this energy within that full moon forecast, but I will say, you know, working out, doing things that connect you to your body would be amazing. Remember, the sun is still in Pisces, so remember to answer to your spirit. Like, you know, sometimes those inconveniences really do work out within our best interest. Really do. We can't always see it in the moment, but at the end of the day, like things are working out. Like, you know, spirit, God, source, like does have a plan for things and it's better than what it is that we can see, but we can get so frustrated at the time being. Like I've shared with you guys, my birthday this year, I just like, typically I have it all planned. And this year it was like every time I planned something, it would just like fall through. Like my boyfriend and I were meant to go to Paso Robles for both of our birthdays because his birthday is actually the 7th. So Pisces season is quite an event for us. So we're meant to go there and then he couldn't because of work. And then we tried to get reservations at this restaurant I've been wanting to go to. It was booked. And then I was like, well, that's fine. Let's just be outside. We'll just go to the beach. We'll go for a long hike. Of course, I live in San Diego. It doesn't typically storm. There was like a huge storm, like literally storm watch. It was like flood warnings. It was like, do not go outside because our San Diego infrastructure is not built for rain. So I was like, I was like, universe, what the heck? Like, what do you want me to do? Right? And I was getting so frustrated. I was like, why is life like this? I'm trying to plan all these things and nothing is working out. Now I don't know what to do for my birthday. Again, birthday's not that big a deal, but when I look at how I spent my weekend, it was absolutely perfect. I would not change a single thing. It was so much fun. I went out to dinner with my friends. We went out dancing. It was storming outside and we were just dancing and living. And during my actual birthday, I went like in a sensory deprivation, like float tank thing. That was really interesting and like kind of comforting during the storm. It all worked out, right? But in my frame of reference, I was like, this isn't how life should be. Like my plan should work out. I should be able to do these things. And it's like literally universe was like, okay, I know you're annoyed and you can beat your fist against the wall. You could be frustrated, but we do have something better for you. And that can be really challenging. Like if you've ever had somebody who's in a tizzy and you're like, but it's all working out, like trust that something better is happening. They don't want to hear it. They're like, are you kidding me? Get out of my face. But you know, when it comes to this particular full moon, as frustrating as it can be, give yourself some time. If you need to vent, if you need to scream, that is fine. But with the Pisces sun, it's whispering, okay, I know this is overwhelming and this kind of sucks and we're sorry, but trust me, the reason why this whole grocery store situation is happening is that so you guys can have this really healing conversation over the weekend, or the reason why this particular job didn't work out is because we have something better. The reason why you spilt coffee on your shirt is because if you were to left 5 minutes after, you could have been involved in this major car accident. Like, we don't know the wisdom that's being threaded through, and we typically don't know until after. So all I want to say, Tuesday is sort of the epicenter of all of the frustration. So again, I don't think that you can like necessarily meditate and feel calm during it, but if it helps, once you get some distance from the emotional reactions that are coming to the surface, allowing yourself to be like, well, there's got to be a reason. Even if there's not a reason, I'm going to tell myself there's a reason because this is so frustrating. And I also want to let you know, Saturn enters Pisces shortly after. And like I said, it's not interwoven, but it feels connected because it's like this Virgo full moon, the stuff is coming to the surface. There's a mess, there's a fight, there's a tiff, there's an issue, right? And Saturn in Pisces is like, well, time to get to work. Time to get to work on this new axis, right? It is like looking up at the mountain, seeing, okay, this is the work that I'm gonna have to do. And I just wanna say, no fear. And I'm right here with you. We need to start a support group. But my Geminis, Virgos, Sagittarians, and Pisces, this transit is gonna be a little interesting for us, okay? It's gonna be a little interesting. It's gonna be more of an arduous journey. Now, my Tauruses, Leos, Scorpios, and Aquariuses, you guys have done a lot of your hiking. You guys are getting kind of a moment. Like, there will be work with Saturn and Pisces, but it's a little bit less sharp of an incline. It's a little bit more grounding. Whereas my fellow mutable loves, you better pack your backpacks, pack extra snacks. We've got quite a journey in store. So it's not that all of those themes are necessarily going to be made deeply apparent on Tuesday, but I do want you to stay open to little foreshadows, to little whispers around some work that you could be doing. Make sure to look where Pisces is in your chart to see where this work will be doing. But overall, collective themes with Saturn and Pisces is truly living out our beliefs, living out our compassion, having boundaries as it relates to our compassion. There is a theme around creating enduring art, things that stand the test of time, right? There is lots of manifestations for this transit, both on the positive end and the shadow side, but I just want you to stay open for what your story is going to be, right? Like that Virgo full moon is illuminating something, right? Even if it's coming through in such a silly argument like Triscuits or wheat thins, there's a deeper layer there, right? There's something deeper. Even if it's something so minimal, like, the fruit fly flying into my shot, there might be something deeper there, like, girly girl, let's talk about these control issues. Let's talk about this perfectionistic tendency. Like, again, there can be a deeper level, but be in the frustration as it comes to the surface. And also know that the astrology of Tuesday isn't necessarily the most clarifying. So I want you to stay open to foreshadows, but also know this is a journey that will be playing out for the next 2.5 years. And there is something kind of muddying about Tuesday's astrology. I mean, firstly, it's being fogged up by intense emotion, right? When you're frustrated, so in one thing after the other, you're not seeing the world clearly, right? You're just more agitated. You're just more likely to lash out. You're just more overwhelmed. You've like worked yourself up a bit, right? And it's hard to see clearly when that's the case. And we also have, Neptune loosely involved into this full moon. So again, there's a very muddying feeling. Like this full moon feels like if you've gone to a body of water and like thrashing your hands in it, you're like, I need to see to the bottom, I need to fix this. And you can't see to the bottom until you're actually still, until you let the water settle, right? Even as fast as you move your hands, you're not gonna push enough water out of the way in order to see to the bottom, right? All you can do is just take that moment and just allow it to settle and allow that clarity to essentially come to the surface. And, through the lens of emotion, through the lens of rushing, through the lens of being kind of like frantic and frazzled, it's not going to necessarily come easy. Like it comes with stillness, and it's hard to be still when you are that frustrated, when you are that perturbed. So on Wednesday, sort of like Virgo full moon recovery day, like it might have just been a crazy day at work, right? Just really busy, lots of fires to put out. It could have been just like a hectic day emotionally. And there might just be a little desire to sort of recuperate and return to balance, right? Like with the Virgo full moon, it just feels like a lot of us are running around doing a lot, okay? And with the moon entering Libra, it's almost like, okay, I need to find some balance. Okay, I've been working so much and my house is a mess. Like, let me just take this afternoon off to just like clean my house. Or like, I have been handling and helping you with your stuff so much. Let me take a moment and handle my own stuff. Balance time with you with time alone. Like there's just a desire around where if things fell out of whack because there were so many fires to put out and because there was so much in your awareness, and how can you gently tilt those scales back into balance, right? And the closing aspect of the Virgo moon is a Virgo moon trining Pluto. So there is energy around returning to your power. So allowing that moment to like sit in bed and be like, that was a really hectic day, right? Allowing yourself that moment to just like feel it. And then with a trine to Pluto, it's like, okay, what are we going to do about it? Do we need to clean up a mess? Do we need to put out a fire? Do we need to have a conversation with whom we had the tiff with? How do we empower ourselves through the situation? Because I will say, the Virgo moon does want to solve the issues, right? It wants control over the details. It's bothered that things are wrong. It's bothered that things are messy. It's bothered that what you wanted to buy wasn't there and that the tool was more expensive. Like it's bothered by all these things, but it's not helpless. Like with the trine to Pluto, it's like, what can you do? And what am I going to do? How am I going to solve this? Do I need to find this tool online at a cheaper price? Do I need to just empower myself to pick out crackers for myself and not rely on my partner? Like how do we work through the situation? And with the moon entering Libra, again, that call for balance, for kind of loosening the scales. So maybe this is the part of the vibe check where, there's like a little bit of a silent treatment on the way home. And then your partner's like, do you want to drive through Sonic and get one of those like blue sodas that you like? And then you're like, yeah. And we still have to have a conversation about it, right? Because there was a legitimate wound. There was some stuff that was brought to the surface, but there's this vibe around, okay, I'm sick of fighting with you. I like you. Let's sip a soda, right? So on Thursday, the Libra moon opposes Jupiter and Chiron, who are building for their conjunction on Saturday. Now, the conjunction exacts on Saturday, but I want you to think of this wounded energy kind of just permeating the cosmos right now. Like Venus conjoined Chiron last week, and because Jupiter and Chiron move so slowly, they're really at the same sector of the sky. So you could already be feeling these influences coming to the surface, and the Libra moon is just kind of like irritating them. And I do want to say there does feel to be a balance. Like you could find after like sipping your little Sonic blue soda and you're like, I'll just let it go. Like I was just being dramatic. That was a lot. It was just crackers. Like with the Libra moon, like prioritizing that peace rather than really getting to the surface around, no, this is what it brought to the surface for me. Because like I said, we are more easily triggered when it comes to this week and just with the cosmos right now with Jupiter on Chiron, we're just a little bit more apt to react. We're a little bit more sensitive to these matters. And there does feel to be a tendency on Thursday around, I just want to keep the peace. I don't want to address these things. And obviously, if you're at work or something of that nature, you kind of do need to keep the peace. But I would really encourage you to really look to what came to the surface, because it's very easy, especially during Pisces season, to write ourselves off as being dramatic. Like, oh, I was so dramatic. It was just about crackers, whatever. I'll just let it go. But when you let things go like that, you are really missing an opportunity for you and your, best friend to grow, for you and your partner to grow, for you and your mom to grow, right? Sometimes when we have these little tiffs, it really does present us this opportunity around, okay, we can either brush this under the rug and maybe even get into the same fight in 2 months' time when a similar situation occurs, or you can really see what came to the surface here. So I do want to say, outside of the vibe check perspective, you can be feeling a little bit of a ouch energy, right? With the Libra moon opposite Chiron, whether it's like, ouch, like I don't have a partner and I really want someone within my life, or like ouch within your connection, like your partner says something and you're like, is that how you feel? Or at work, like feeling like everybody likes your new coworker more than you. Like again, there's just this little like ping on Thursday where it's like, oh, ow. And with opposition to Jupiter, there is a vibe though, I would say, to enhance loveliness, dress cute, do something nice for yourself. Again, sometimes with Moon Jupiter, we can be overboard, okay, with things, whether it's, why just one donut when I can have them all? Why just get one soda from Sonic when I can have 6? Like sometimes we can be overboard. Sometimes the good feelings, we aren't as inclined to get to work or to handle our to-dos, right? We're just kind of in the mood to like listen to music and vibe. I mean, what a romantic combo though. Pisces sun and Libra moon. I mean, it's just very dreamy. So if you have to give yourself, a little break to read some poetry and listen to some music and pretend that you are in, a French film, by all means. Please do. But just know that with the Libra moon opposite Jupiter, we can be a little overly optimistic when it comes to how long things take to get done, right? Like, oh, I'll handle that tomorrow. I'll handle that tomorrow. It's kind of like a toxic combo because the Pisces sun, wants to escape, and the Libra moon just wants to enjoy life. So the two are just not necessarily the most productive, but it is a great time to connect with coworkers, connect with people within your life, infuse things with good vibes, but just be mindful around where certain pings around not feeling a sense of belonging with others, or a certain ping around certain things that you're dealing with, but you're prioritizing the harmony within your connection beyond what it is that you are authentically feeling. So just important to balance. On Friday the 10th, the Libra moon opposes Venus in Aries a little after midnight, like 1:07 a.m. So I do want to let you know that's kind of building on Thursday night as well. Again, we're in the mood to connect. We're in the mood to connect. The Libra moon is opposing its ruler. It's so funny. Earlier in the week, the Virgo moon opposed its ruler, Mercury in Pisces, and now Libra moon is opposing its ruler, Venus in Aries, and both Mercury in Pisces and Venus in Aries are not dignified. Astro nerdy speak to say there is this energy around this polarity of oppositions, right? This polarity of opposites, and that's why relationships are such great lessons in life school, because so much of connection is about how we do life together, how we go to the grocery store, how we make sure everything is getting done. We tend to think of our life as these sweeping moments of, the romantic date nights and all of the things, which most certainly exist. But there's also this energy around, okay, you do things like this and I do things like this. So how are we going to do this together? And almost these moon oppositions kind of highlight that, because again, Mercury and Venus are not comfy. So there's a lot of there's a lot of polarity. There's a lot of differences around, I do things like this and you do things like this, but there can be a pathway forward if we can appreciate one another's perspective. So anyways, just a nerdy astro speak way to say, be mindful this week around butting up against people who do things differently and like reacting, being like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Let's be real, the Virgo full moon earlier in the week can be a little bit of a know-it-all, right? Looking for opportunities to learn from the differences, to learn from the oppositions, to learn, hey, maybe it actually would be more time efficient for us to divvy out our groceries and then meet up at the checkout line, right? Like maybe you could handle the crackers. Okay, you couldn't handle the cracker decision. I'll handle the bread and the meat and then we'll meet together. And that's maybe different than you would do it. Like you would want your person there all the time, but maybe there's value in that, right? Balance, compromise, especially with this Libra moon. And then the Libra moon trines Mars and Gemini. Many of us will be asleep, but I do want to let you know that you could wake up a little bit more energetic, in the mood for a workout would be great, something of that nature. There is some anxiety on Friday that I want you to be mindful of, because then the Libra moon builds to square Pluto in Capricorn, who's sitting at the 29th degree, because Pluto's at shift signs as well. So there just could be this vibe around mounting anxieties that you're not sure why. Like there could just be an energy around just feeling on edge about things, whether it's on edge about the people within your life, on edge about work. Like there's just a vibe where we can just all be like a little bit on edge, okay? And that occurs at 3:37. So it could just be a vibe around just feeling anxiety at work, just trying to get everything done. Maybe you were just partying and celebrating the day prior with the Libra moon opposite Jupiter. You were feeling good vibes. You were listening to music. You were chatting with your coworkers. Then Friday you're like, this proposal is not done. There's just like mounting anxieties from that. There can just be a feeling around I'm nervous and I don't know why. Again, Pluto in the 29th degree, it does imbue us with some anxiety, right? Around where transformation and change is necessary and needed in order to usher us into the new paradigm. But oftentimes, when it comes to change, we can feel deeply uncomfortable moving into it. And then the moon enters Scorpio, which yes, does plunge us deep into the fields, but it is stabilized by a trine to Saturn in Pisces. So it is like, okay, we feel this anxiety, what's going to make us feel better, right? And we have a lot of water within the cosmos, and so much water that we can feel like we're drowning in emotions and all of the things. And with this kind of lifeline, or this life raft really to Saturn and Pisces, is like, okay, what's going to ground us down? What's going to ease our anxiety? Do we need to dissolve into a movie? Do we need to start cleaning up? Would that make us feel better? Essentially taking the power into our hands around, okay, I'm feeling nervous, I don't know why. What are some little things that are going to make me feel more at ease? It's almost like we can know change is coming, and it doesn't make it any easier to know what's on the horizon, literally. I'm gonna go into a personal share. I just highlight that. If you're not interested, go ahead and jump to the Saturday timestamp. I'm conscious that I have been doing a lot of personal shares and anecdotes. That's just how I like to tell about the cosmos. But this energy reminds me, so on my birthday, like I said, my girls were like, we need to go out. We went to this fun astrology tarot themed restaurant. It's called the Seventh House. And when we got there, they were like, do you want a reading while you're here? And I was like, heck yes, I do. And the tarot reader, I keep getting tower energy, and I see it with my transits. And then she pulled up the tower card. And if you don't know the tower card is this. It's like a building on fire, people running out. It was so funny because I didn't ask, I didn't direct her at all, but she had my boyfriend on one side and then me on one side, and his side, it was King of Cups and Ace of Cups and Sun and all of these happy cards and all of this water flowing. And then me was Tower. It was a girl in bed with swords falling on her. I was like, am I okay? Am I the problem? Literally the cards are telling me I'm a problem. And she was like, yeah, there's a big tower moment coming for you. I can't tell you what it is. And it's I see it too with my transits. What is it, right? And it's I know it's gonna suck. I know it's gonna suck. And obviously my Virgo moon wants to have anxiety about it, around what's it going to be? Let me try to dial in all the details of my life to ensure nothing wrong can happen. But again, change is gonna come. Okay, change is going to come. It's going to provide us with wisdom for this Pluto and Aquarius upcoming transit. It's going to usher us into the next paradigm of humanity, truly. And sometimes feeling that, you can have anxiety around, well, how exactly? It almost made me want to freeze time. I'm like, I do not want this birthday. I do not want these transits. I do not want this tower card. I don't want it. Can I get a refund? But I know, even though it's going to suck at the time, I know I'm going to learn something from it. The tower moment is coming, right? And maybe we don't have the clarity around what exactly it's coming, what exactly humanity is moving through, right? But we know it's coming. And again, the Libra moon square Pluto was me during that reading, being what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? But all you can do with the moon entering Scorpio and trining Saturn is all I can do is just be open to the wisdom that's going to come through this time, ground down and practically find ways to better my life, right? Piece by piece, to handle what life is throwing my way and just work through it. And it doesn't do any good to already stress about things that haven't even occurred yet, right? In addition to telling me that I have this tower moment coming, right, of everything in my life falling apart, which I'm like, cool. Also, she was so funny. So when I walk over to her, she had like a martini and she was so straight up. And it's like, obviously I'm a reader too. And like my style is just much different, but I deeply appreciated her style. Like I thought she was hilarious. But like I said, I didn't say what I wanted to focus on. For some reason, my boyfriend popped up. I was like, hello, let's focus on me. What about me? Anyways, she was like, I don't know you. I will take your man. Like she was very impressed with his side of the stuff. She was like, King of Cups, he's so emotionally available, cares about you, blah, 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 blah. She's like, I will take your man. I don't know you. I will take your man. Like I think she was not vibing with me. Understandably, my side of the table was like tower, 8 of swords, like girl in bed with swords falling down her. Like I get why she didn't like me, but she straight up was like, I will steal your man. I will take your boyfriend. He's King of Cups. Your tower, like I will take your boyfriend. Where is he tonight? Like I couldn't. It was so funny. But anyways, okay, back to the astrology. Thank you for being here for my anecdotes. I know sometimes they're a little annoying, but if I'm gonna do these videos, I do like to enjoy the process. And at my core, I'm a storyteller. So thank you for bearing with the anecdotes. So on Saturday, March 11th, we do have 2 very helpful sextile aspects. And the thing about sextiles is that they're soft, they're opportunity aspects. So understand that you can activate this energy, and that's why I'm so grateful that you are here. So you can consciously be like, okay, the cosmos are giving me the opportunity to feel this energy. Let me reach onto it. Let me grab onto it. Like that Virgo full moon was a mess. Let me make sure this weekend that I really grab the blessings that the cosmos are like lightly doling my way. So the blessings are this. So Mercury sextiles Uranus around 1 p.m. And this is the energy around being able to see things in a different perspective or have a new sort of conversation. Keep in mind, Mercury is in Pisces. So we're communicating in a little bit of emotional, compassionate way. Maybe it's hard to even articulate what it is that is bothering us about that situation. Being like, well, it was Triscuits and wheat thins. They're like, it was just crackers. Why are you getting so upset? And it's like with Mercury and Pisces, your thoughts are like underwater. You're like, why am I so upset? I'm trying to voice why that upset me so much. I can't get to it though. Like, I'm ruled by Mercury, so I'm so sorry if this Monday, if this forecast is extra chatty than usual. Because like with Mercury and Pisces, especially if you're sensitive to Mercury, you might feel like your thoughts are underwater. It's just like, how do I say what I need? But with Mercury sextile Uranus, this is really amazing for writers, right? This is really lovely as it relates to having new sort of conversations, having new ideas. Write down, like Mercury in Pisces is, it's not very linear. It doesn't speak to us in words. It speaks to us in signs and symbols and little whispers from muse. So it can be very inspired if you are open to it. And, it might be hard to articulate what it is that you mean, but there can be this energy around being able to communicate it through a symbol or an action or a song, sending a song to that person, being like, this is how I feel. Like, again, it's not very linear, but with the sextility Uranus, there can be fresh new ideas, fresh new perspectives. And then earlier in the morning, we have Venus in Aries sextiling Mars in Gemini, which is passionate. These are the 2 passion planets making this opportunity aspect. And, with Venus in Aries and Mars in Gemini, it's just kind of like novel and fun and curious. So it would be great to do some sort of like different activity, something new, and like view it from a beginner's mindset. Like I just think that's such a fun, fresh space to be in. And I also want to highlight in the vibe check, this would be the part where you guys like have a conversation. You're like, hey, listen to the song. This is how I feel. And then you're able, with the building Jupiter conjunct Chiron that we'll talk about, you're able to sort of get to the root of it. And then the Venus sextile Mars is when you guys like, makeup. But other manifestations of that would be following your instincts when it comes to making a purchase, with it sextiling Venus, right? Venus is money, as well as following your instincts as it relates to an aesthetic shift that you want to make. And Saturday's astrology is ripe for newness. Again, anchor in that beginner's mindset, right, of Venus in Aries, sextile Mars and Gemini. Sometimes it helps when you're running errands or anything of nature to just view things like a game, right? How can we have fun? How can we joke about this? This is so annoying. How can we giggle, right? Or go on some sort of hike or learn something new. Be open to the new on Saturday. The Scorpio moon does oppose Uranus, so not everything will go according to plan, but how it is that you react to it is what matters here, right? Because think about the sequence of events of the vibe check. It's like, donating clothes, and going to the home improvement store and going grocery shopping. Like, let's say we repeated that, but we were just in a more playful state of mind where we just like joked, of course the donation center is closed. It always is. Like, oh my gosh, we're so silly. We always forget it's closed on Sundays. And then going to the home improvement store and be like, oh my gosh, of course, Home Depot is insane. Let's just like write this down. We'll look it up online, whatever. And while you're there looking at different like, plants, maybe getting seeds, not being so narrowly focused on what it is that you need to do. Then going to the grocery store and just laughing at how frustrated and stressed everybody is. Again, same sequence of events, but your perspective is what shifted it. So all I want to say is that if there are things that are unexpected on Saturday, seeing for ways around how can we laugh about this, or how can we see what's funny about this, or what's novel about this, or what have you. And then that evening, Jupiter conjoins Chiron. So there is this activation of the wound, but also kind of finding wisdom within it. And so this is the energy when you're finally able to get to the root around, oh wow, I felt abandoned at the store to a micro level. Like, it brought me back to ways that you abandoned, and even ways that I felt abandoned when I was younger. When I looked around and couldn't find my mom at the grocery store, it just brought me back to that wounded place. I want you to be open to insights like that, okay? With Jupiter on Chiron, sometimes it can make us more sensitive, more wounded, feeling all the feels. I mean, it's Pisces season. We feel everything, okay? And it's not that we're meant to stay in that wound and lash out because of that wound. That's coming to the surface for us to alchemize it. Because if you're able to have a conversation after that tip at the grocery store around, hey, I know it's silly, I know it's just crackers, but would you mind just staying by my side? Like, I just get overstimulated at grocery stores. I just kind of need you there. You're my comfort person. If you could just trail close and we can do groceries together. Or if you're going to go divide and conquer, if you could just let me know where to find you if I do have a question on something. Like, again, then you can avoid that situation happening in the future because you were honest about where that pinged at you. And yes, that showed up in such a silly way. If you're in a relationship, in relationships, there's so many silly tiffs that it's like, this is so silly, but it's getting at something deeper, and relationships are such great life school. Again, this is not a relationship aspect. You could be feeling this at work. You could be feeling this with your friends. You could be feeling this with your health. Like, there's all of these themes that are coming to surface, but all I want to say is listen to your Jupiter conjunct Chiron forecast, but also just allowing yourself to be honest about what's coming to the surface, be vulnerable about what's coming to the surface, and really learn from what's coming to the surface. You'll never believe who just flew on in here. Get out. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Anyways, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Sunday the 12th. Oh my goodness, it is daylight savings time here in the US, and I'm so excited to change our clocks because then we get more daylight and we lose hours of sleep, but we get more daylight, and I am so excited. This means later walks, later runs. It makes me so cranky when I do not finish up with work in time in order to go for a walk, go for a run. It drives me insane. But anyways, that shifts. Then now time zone wise, I'm shifting to PDT. So just something to keep in mind as I mentioned times. So, on Sunday, there's a lot of water, okay? And the thing about water is that it can be very cleansing, right? If we feel like, how free you feel after a good ugly cry? Like, think about that feeling. You feel cleansed. You feel renewed. Like, on my birthday, after being in that float tank, like, I emerged and I was like, I feel like a new person. I feel amazing. Like, water is so powerful, but it can also drown us. It can also be overwhelming. And with all this water, it can be very, very inspired. Some people will be creating, some people will be tapping in, connecting really deep within their love relationship, and some people will be crying. And I want you to just be wherever it is that you are. And again, understanding that water can be so powerful, it can be so cleansing, it can be so inspired, truly, but it also can be very emotional. So I really feel like it's gonna go both ways for people, but I will say, if you do identify as being someone who is creative, the Scorpio moon will trine Venus and trine Neptune, which is like tapping into source energy, channeling, downloading sort of energy again, and maybe from the darkness, like with the Scorpio moon, feeling things intensely, but able to like kind of tap into the beauty and also articulate it, because the Scorpio moon also trines Mercury in Pisces. So again, the insights, the downloads might not come through in like, a literal way. It's getting a letter from God, like, dear Cynthia, please write a song about this. Like, it's not going to come through that, but you could just look at how the sun hits a leaf in a particular way and just all of a sudden hear this little melody and you're just like, that's it. It's forming, it's forming. But the thing about Pisces is that the information that's coming through, it's murky. You know, it's all over the place. It comes through signs and symbols and music and all of these pieces. So we just need to be aware of it. We need to pay attention to these little signs, to these little synchronicities, to these little pieces of information that are coming through, kind of like radio static, right? Like with Mercury in Pisces opposite Virgo, it's like loud and clear. It's like we can hear what it's saying. But with Mercury in Pisces, we're sort of turning the dial around, being like, I could barely hear. It's soft, it's subtle, but I'm tapping into something bigger. So on Sunday would be a really lovely day for that. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I respond. Speaking of things that are just so minor, but really infuriate me, is how freaking loud it is here. Oh my gosh. How am I meant to film in these conditions with this random car rumbling outside? It's been paused for like 5 minutes. I'm like, sir, do you have somewhere to go? Do you have somewhere to be? Oh my God. Because I do. And I can't film. I can't say the Magic Monday mantra of the week while you're doing this. Guys, I'm so sorry. It's like building to the Virgo full moon right now, and I've just been so annoyed with like all of these little things. So you are really getting an authentic reaction to me processing this Virgo full moon, because I do want to highlight my Gemini loves, Virgo loves, Sagittarius loves, and fellow Pisces loves. We can be a little bit more susceptible to this energy. Anyways, you guys are gonna have to deal with the rumbling. I'm so sorry. I've been waiting for 5 minutes, and this car outside just wants to chill. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, this is actually kind of ironic, but I respond rather than react. Again, responding indicates this energy around being present, being grounded, and being rooted enough to say, okay, I see what's going on right now, and I'm going to respond intentionally rather than just react and lash out. Again, with the Virgo full moon, we can have a tendency to get out in our own heads and get very worked up and frustrated through all of these inconveniences. Like me sitting here being so infuriated by this car rumbling outside and this little fly butting around. Like, again, it's not the end of the world, but it just makes you mad, right? And when you're in the more agitated state, you can be more likely to lash out. You can be more likely to, react in ways that you're not super, super proud of. Like if I was reacting, right, just like lashing out because of my own stuff, right, being worked up around, well, I'm filming and Magic Monday needs to get out and you guys are being noisy right next to my house. Like if I was reacting, I would go outside and yell, right? That's not the kind of person I am, but I'm just saying, like, there can be a tendency this week to just react, where it's like, it's all little things. Like your partner just needed to get bread for the two of you, but it's like when you react, you're like, what? Why would you do that? Da-da-da. Just because you're worked up, just because you're overwhelmed, just because you're overstimulated, right? So it's important, take that beat, respond, okay? I'm responding to this by just choosing to go forward with Magic Monday. Mantra of the week. I'm so sorry. I can no longer wait any longer. And it's just kind of fun that you guys are getting this. I'm filming this very close to when I'm posting it. So I'm really already in this Virgo full moon energy of being kind of overstimulated and erratic and all over the place. So I apologize. Thank you for bearing with me. Just finding that opportunity to respond to the frustrations, laugh if you can. If it's available, please laugh at it. Like it is kind of funny. You gotta giggle. You gotta giggle. My loves, until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.